Yes, I have solved Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. Now in this video I'm going to be explaining how the lore fits in with the timeline. I'm going to be explaining the full story of Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, and the things that I solved in this video is going to be absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely revolutionary. Like, I can't believe there's some of the things I solved in this video. It's going to be absolutely insane. Let's actually just hop into this and see what we find. Now guys, I'm not going to be explaining the full timeline. Y'all guys should already know the FNAF timeline, so I'm not going to explain the whole freaking thing. This video will be a 2-hour video. We're just going to be explaining certain of the parts of the FNAF timeline, and we'll see how it goes. Now, at the start of the game, we learned that there's actually 4 people head over Fazbear Entertainment because of this line right here.
We expect you'll succeed where they failed. 1 out of 3 Fazbear employees has confidence in you, so go get 'em, Tiger.
Now, who are the other 2? William Afton and Henry. And we actually know that the 4th one is actually Edwin, because he used to work for Fazbear Entertainment. But then, obviously something else happened to him that we'll probably get to later. Now we know from the audio recordings from this game that Edwin had a wife named Fiona, and we had a freaking son named David. Now this will be very important later on, guys. So yeah, guys, we basically find out that Fiona David was getting too busy in his freaking work, and Fiona had to leave to go to Fall Fest, right? She ends up going to Fall Fest, somehow dies there, don't know how. Obviously, the fire probably happens there, and then she probably dies, right? That's what we know right now. Now, the dispatch guy obviously tells us to go around and upgrade all of our data divers to find the Mimic schematics, guys. Now, y'all guys are probably wondering which ending is the canon ending. It's obviously the second one, guys. Mainly because the secret ending literally makes no sense, because you literally have to replay the whole entire game to get a plushie, guys, in a whole nother timeline, so it literally can't be that ending. And like, the base ending literally adds nothing to the story. We just end up straight up dying at the end, and that's it. Alright, like, that has no plot relevance. Like, it cannot be the freaking ending. The second one has to be the canon ending, and we're actually about to talk about it. Now guys, in this second ending, we end up crawling all the way down to the FNAF 1 location, FNAF 1 prototype location, and we end up finding Mixes, guys. Now it seems like Fiona's actually Mixes, but she's actually not. And we're gonna get into that into a minute, guys. We're gonna get into it into a minute. What? So guys, what's actually happening here is that Fiona's actually Mimic 1. And Edwin actually rebuilt his wife, guys, using the Mimic 1 program to hopefully bring back his wife, which, it worked somewhat, not really. So actually, Fiona was actually dispatched the whole time, luring us down here for something that we're going to get into. Now we learned that David, not too long ago, died from a car accident, right after Fiona was built. In the secret ending, we learned that David is actually Mimic 2. So this means Edwin actually built 2 Mimic programs using 1 animatronic. Now keep in mind, guys, these are actual chips. These are actually Mimic program chips that he's swapping out between the animatronics, guys, which actually is the Mimic endoskeleton. Now guys, Fiona's goal is actually to repair the Mimic 2, guys. But that's not actually what's important here. So guys, by this point we still have the Mimic schematics. So we go up to Edwin's house, we find this right here. We learned that Edwin didn't actually like how the Mimic was actually mimicking his son. So we actually, through all his anger and aggression, destroyed the Mimic. So obviously that's why the Mimic is so evil. So then the Mimic actually started mimicking Edwin and captured him in his house, trapping him. And then he repaired himself. So what actually is going on here is that the Mimic 2 is actually protecting the data diver throughout this whole entire game. Fiona wants the data diver to fix M2. We end up opening up the door and finding a computer program called Mixes. Inside of it is something called the Crater. Mixes is actually a storage program to store the Mimic. Well, no, guys, one of the Mimic programs called the Crater. Now guys, the reason why the Mimic didn't kill us at the end is because he is literally there to protect the crater, guys. Which is actually, and also the schematics. He doesn't really care if we live or die. It doesn't freaking matter to him. That's all he wants to protect, and that's all that matters. And you're probably wondering why. Why is that? Let's actually get into that. The cradle is actually Edwin. Now here's why. Now multiple messages proves this, guys. But the main one that proves it is this.
This has to be Mimic 1 then.
Edwin abandoned us. He shut himself away in our home.
Fiona's Mimic 1, which is actually Nix's? Wait, what?
The communications subterminal.
That's an insane plot twist, guys.
We must convince him.
I'm crapping my pants right now, guys, for how insane that freaking cliffhanger was. How that plot twist was.
M2 will never stop.
No one saw this coming, by the way. Who actually saw this coming? Nobody.
I still love him.
But maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
We separated. He has been shuffled away in that house. You know it's shuttered, guys. Get yourself together. Edwin is actually the crater, guys. That's why when we were going down the elevator, she was actually talking to the data diver, which is actually Cradle. Just like how Edwin made his son and his wife into a program. When Edwin died, the mimic that was mimicking Edwin was the one who actually finished the cradle. Mimic 2 made Edwin into a mimic program. Literally made him into a mimic program. Crazy. So the big thing that we could take away here, guys, is Edwin is actually Mixes from FNAF Ruin. Mixes that we see in FNAF Ruin is actually Edwin, not Fiona. Which makes a lot of sense. Edwin is literally protecting us from his own creation. In Ruin. And guys, we're going to be calling Edwin Mimic 3, guys. That's what we're going to be calling him. Mimic Program 3. So remember that. So y'all guys are thinking, well, yeah, so that basically solves the whole entire game, right? Like, that basically solves the whole thing. And you're right. But let's talk about that secret ending. To get this secret ending, you need to replay the whole game again and collect all the collectibles. You beat a minigame and you unlock the final key that will lock in any door and the final access to your data diver. Now let's talk about Edwin's house here. This Edwin's house actually kind of looks like FNAF 4 house. And the room actually is. We crawl into a vent and we find a house. Well, actually a room, similar to the FNAF 4 room. And then at the big reveal, guys, the biggest plot twist in honestly FNAF's history, we revealed that this is actually the FNAF 4 house. Now, why this is the FNAF 4 house? It's mainly probably because of the hallucination gas. William Afton literally stole everything from Edwin down to his house. FNAF 1, he stole all the FNAF 1 designs. He stole his whole house. Obviously, he used hallucination gas to make this house look like the FNAF 4 house. That's why the layout is so slightly different. The big reveal was actually David was actually M2. And now I just realized something. The biggest twist. Shoulda freaking knew this. We learned from the security logbook that the crying child's name is actually Dave. What's the nickname for David? Dave. Now guys, everything starts to connect. Everything starts to align. It all makes sense. David is actually the crying child, which is actually Gregory. It all makes sense. You'll probably guys need more proof, so let me show you. The first tape that we find in the FNAF 4 house is actually a tape where we see Edwin scaring David with a foxy puppet. What is David doing right now? Crying. You saw how many times he cried? A lot. Pretty similar to the crying child in FNAF 4. David obviously has a pretty dang fear of Foxy. Just like the crying child. So guys, William Afton actually stole FNAF 1, Edwin's whole house, and David, his own child. Just like how we see in Sis location in that one ad. The kid is literally not his. William and Henry had to catch the mimic, guys, from the end of the game, because he had the cradle, which we know learn in the future that it's actually Mex's. So Henry and William actually have it. William Afton literally took Mimic 2 and literally used him as his own child, which is insane. Now this, guys, actually helps us solve Midnight Motorist. Now guys, we know that the Mimic actually likes stuffing people inside of suits before Secret of the Mimic, and before William Afton. This actually makes us solve what those footprints really are. And it's actually Tiger Rock. Now here's why, guys. We literally see Tiger Rock teleporting throughout the whole freaking game. That's really why we only see two spots there, guys. 2 footprints. It's because it's actually Tiger Rock. And you're probably wondering, who's possessing Tiger Rock? It's David, his actual soul. You're probably wondering, who's possessing Tiger Rock? It's David, his actual soul. The Mimic literally put David's dead body inside of the Tiger Rock suit. That's why we see it teleporting around in Secret of the Mimic. And in that Tiger Rock suit acts pretty similar to Golden Freddy. Meaning David was actually the first person who actually died in the FNAF timeline. And got stuffed into a suit. David's favorite plushie is that Tiger Rock suit. That's why it's possessing it. Kind of like the Golden Freddy plush. Now this is where Afton starts building the sister location tunnels. The same tunnels that we see in Secret of the Mimic. Now y'all guys should know what happens next. The Bite of 83. Now this Fredbear that we see is probably the redesigned William Afton Fredbear, not the one Fredbear that we see in, in Secret of the Mimic. This is not prototype Fredbear. This is probably the Fredbear that Henry made. Keep in mind the designs are slightly different. Fredbear ends up killing David, destroying all of his memories and the Mimic chip. Now guys, this actually confirms that there's actually only one spirit in the Golden Freddy suit, and that means that Cassidy is only the one that actually is the ventral spirit. Cassidy is actually Golden Freddy. Keep in mind, when David died, there was no spirit inside of David. Remember, the David spirit, it's still in Tiger Rock, meaning that there's only one spirit, and Fredbear. You're broken, I would put you back together. Literally, guys, he literally put them back together, guys. The Mimic 1. Well, actually, no, Mimic 2. And if y'all guys want even more, like this Happiest Day cake looks exactly like the cake that we see David had. I'm just saying, guys, like, there's the proof. And look at the balloons, too. They kind of look like, Secret of the Mimic balloons, in the, Jackie's room. I'm just saying. And even David's room, for real. Yeah, guys, I also solved what's in the FNAF 4 box. It's actually Edwin and the Mimic blueprints. William Afton literally hid what he did. What he did? Like, what am I saying? He's literally hiding the things that he stole from Edwin. The broken Mimic chip from David. So then William Afton realized that he can't bring back the memories of his son. So what did he do? Drink a whole bunch. A lot. And another reason why he's drinking is because his wife just left him. And that's what we're going to talk about. So then he thought of an idea. What if he brings his wife back? Just like Edwin. So he decides to bring back the blueprints to make his own Mimic program, Mimic 4. Guys, literally just like how Edwin bring back his wife, William Afton tries to bring back his wife again, guys. It's actually insane. But what he realized, this time it doesn't work. Because remember, the first was the only one that worked. And the only one that will work. Now the Mimic 4 program was acting a little bit different. It no longer started the Mimic, William Afton's wife. It started to mimic him, William Afton. And Edwin and William Afton are pretty similar. And now Henry starts to realize what's going on with Mimic 4. The erraticness, the rage, the anger, the misprogramming. Henry can't have William Afton make more of these machines, these mimic programs. That always seems to malfunction. So what does Henry do? Henry takes back the destroyed mimic chip, the cradle, and the mimic blueprints, the whole entire box. Henry was the one who stole the box from William Afton. That's why William Afton killed Charlie outside that pizzeria. That's the confrontation, guys. That's why they get so mad at each other and try to freaking do stuff. Mainly William Afton. Now keep in mind, William Afton has already repaired his son and made him new. But without his memories, it's just an empty shell. A bot with no memories. So right now, Henry has the cradle and the blueprints. And y'all guys should know what happens next with the puppet and everything. So let's just get to the point. Scott Cawthon did say that box changed with when he did change it. But I'm not gonna tell you when, because how would I know? But he did change it somewhere between FNAF 4 and somewhere. History really seems to repeat itself. But, things are going to get a lot worse with that one. So after that night, you know what William Afton decided to do? Continue making the William Afton program. By this time, he already knows how to make mimicking voices. That he should already know by that now. He should learn that crap. But, there's one thing he didn't learn. Now that Mimic 4 is literally designed to kill kids, guys. Mimic 4 is now literally designed to kill kids. That's his plan. That's his new plan, instead of being his wife. But someone was still his favorite, his daughter. And on that day, you all know what happens. And you know what other thing that Secret of the Mimic confirms? That Circus Baby actually is a spring lock animatronics. A lot of the animatronics from the FNAF, a lot of the fun times are actually spring locks. Meaning on that one day, something bad happens. The one day where there was no more kids in that room. Randomly out of nowhere, the Mimic comes in, jumps inside of the freaking Circus Baby suit. Yeah, Circus Baby suit, guys. And kills Elizabeth. It was actually the Mimic who killed Elizabeth. But keep in mind, guys, Elizabeth is actually being possessed by the suit, the spring lock suit itself, not the Mimic. When the Mimic used Circus Baby, guys, it only possesses the suit, guys. So the Mimic just freaking dipped when that happened, guys, soon after. Mimic 4 just freaking dipped, but he's coming back. Now this confirms a lot of other things as well, the Mimic could literally be anybody from the FNAF universe. Shadow Freddy, Shadow freaking Bonnie, you know what I mean? The Mimic could literally been jumping in all the suits inside of such a location, we wouldn't know. I'm talking about Mimic 4, by the way. But, what the thing that you need to know here, guys, is that the Mimic 4 animatronic is actually Circus Baby, the one that we hear inside sister location. The whole time, it's actually Mimic 4, guys, luring us down there to get freaking scooped. And guess what? The Mimic 4 literally uses us as a suit, guys. Uses Michael as a suit. The freaking dip, alright? And there's a lot of things that can confirm that the Mimic, that freaking Innard is actually the Mimic. So yeah, guys, the voice that we hear in Sister Location is actually the Mimic, not her soul. The only time we hear her soul actually talk is actually in FNAF 6. That's actually her. Mainly because of her pronouns in the game in Sister Location. She, says different things and different lines, but then it's different in FNAF 6. But we're not going to get into that, because y'all guys should already know that. So Baby Endoskeleton is actually Mimic 4. Innard is actually Mimic 4, guys. Alright, and we know what happens after that. Innard becomes Molten Freddy. Molten Freddy becomes someone else. But we're not going to get into that yet. So basically after that, we know that FNAF 6 happens. The place burns down to the freaking ground. But then later, you know what happens? They end up finding the freaking chip, the new chip that was designed to literally be, and sadly is mimicking William Afton. They accidentally scanned that crap into the Help Wanted game. It freaking manifests into Glitch Trap / the Mimic / Mimic 4. Y'all guys need to realize that the Mimic 4 chip is actually slightly more advanced than the previous Mimic chips. The Mimic 4 chip is able to control any technology that has previously connected to it. This means that the Mimic 4 chip is able to control the entirety of the Sister Location bunker and Circus Baby's Pizza World. The chip that we see in Sister Location is actually the Mimic 4 chip. The Mimic 4 chip is literally actually be able to control any animatronic it needs to. It could literally control multiple animatronics. Michael ends up taking the Mimic 4 chip home. The reason why Ennard comes to Michael's house is not because he wants revenge and wants to use him. It's actually to protect and take back the Mimic 4 chip. That's why Ennard is trying to kill Michael, is to take back the Mimic 4 chip. Or it could just literally be Ennard's trying to kill Michael to bring him back to the scooper so he can use the suit. Use him as a suit. The Mimic 4 endoskeleton is literally designed to protect the Mimic chip. Ennard is actually a storage container for all the children that William Afton has killed, storing all the remnant inside of Ennard. Ennard, Molten Freddy, and the Blob, they're all are storage containers for remnant. We learned in the FNAF 6 ending that the fire set all those souls free. But we learned in Help Wanted 2 that all the FNAF 6 animatronics didn't get fully burned. Mimic 4 is still using the FNAF 6 animatronics, even with all the remnant burned away. So now Mimic 4 needs to collect a whole bunch and a whole much lot more of that remnant. So it makes sense that Ennard, Mimic 4, was the one who actually started Special Delivery Shipping Solutions to collect that remnant by killing more kids. Mimic 4 was the actually one who actually made Security Breach and the Pizza Plex. Mimic 4 has full access to all Fazbear Entertainment's technology, making it pretty easy to build and get that money to make the Pizza Plex with special delivery. So Security Breach was actually built on FNAF 6, which is actually built on Sister Location, which is actually the secret of the Mimic Factory. And the Sister Location bunker obviously leads to the FNAF 4 house. Now, this picture that we see in Secret of the Mimic is very similar to the picture that we see in Security Breach, more confirming that Gregory is actually David, Mimic 2. The Mimic 4 program is literally trying to remake the family that he lost, that William Afton lost. Mimic 4 tries to find someone like Vanessa to mind control. Mimic 4 finds Vanessa, which actually becomes Vanny by the mind control. Keep in mind, David lost all of his memories. He's just an empty shell, being controlled by M4, trapping him down in the poster room that we see in Security Breach, slowly trying to get back the memories of his dead son, trying to bring back David's memories. We see Happiest Day, Balloons, the Bite of 83, all his friends. It all starts to make sense. Vanessa goes around trying to repair Mimic 4. Mimic 4 is literally trying to repair itself, rebuilding itself to what we see in FNAF Ruin. The Mimic that we see in FNAF Ruin is actually Mimic 4. Mimic 4 tries to bring back those memories. of David, but it doesn't work. Until David starts the sneaking around and hiding, just like we see David hide in Secret of the Mimic. It's literally Gregory's literally hiding in the Pizzaplex, kind of like we see David hide in Secret of the Mimic. Gregory/David is literally using Glamlock Freddy like a suit that we see in Security Breach. That's how Gregory is able to fit in those little small spaces. He could literally grow and get smaller anytime he wants. David somehow gets his memories back because of Glamrock Freddy, which is probably Michael. Michael's soul is still in Glamrock Freddy. Now there's other possibilities that Glamrock Freddy is actually Fiona. Or that Fiona is actually Roxy. But it still makes sense that Michael would still be Glamrock Freddy. The reason why we might think that Roxy is still Fiona is because how would she know to go down to the FNAF 6 after she died in FNAF Ruin? David ends up going around destroying all the animatronics that were being controlled by Mimic 4, trying to stop Mimic 4 from killing all those kids. He ends up freeing Vanessa and they end up going and leaving the Pizzaplex. They end up coming back, going down to FNAF 6. Henry obviously probably left the Mixix program in FNAF 6. Henry obviously still had Edwin, which is actually the creator. Gregory and Vanessa end up fighting Edwin, Mixes, and using him to protect the Mimic and trapping him under the Pizzaplex that we see in FNAF Ruin. So then David and Vanessa think they have their happy ending, but then Cassidy comes in, accidentally releasing the Mimic and deactivating all the nodes that they were set by the Mixes program. Now we don't know what happens after FNAF Ruin, if the Mimic is free now or what happened. But we're going to find out. But that actually is where we have to wrap up this video, guys. This timeline was absolutely insane. This story was absolutely insane. I've never seen a story so freaking crazy in my entire life. This was unbelievably insane. I'm losing my mind how crazy this is. Y'all guys need to make sure y'all guys leave a like, subscribe to my channel. Please, guys, leave a like and subscribe. Please leave a comment, guys, down and below, guys. Please make sure y'all guys leave a comment. What your thoughts? Tell me your thoughts, guys, in the comments. If this is pretty accurate, if y'all guys believe this, if there's like any crazy theories, leave in the comments. Now keep in mind, guys, this is all a theory, so please don't be hating on me in the comments. This is all a theory. There's certain stuff that are pretty much 100% confirmed in this video, but then there's certain stuff that's not, so keep in mind, guys. But honestly, guys, I believe that this is 100% true. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I believe that this story is true.